but it's actually education, health, and environmental affairs. And I mean, in our committee, of course, we have all the bills relevant to education, you know, K to 12, higher ed. We have health care bills that specifically deals with the boards and the different professions in the healthcare industry. We get all the environmental bills relevant, you know, to sewer, clean water, clean air, and the kind of miscellaneous category would be alcohol for the state. We said alcohol policy for the state. We also have the procurement in terms of what's relevant and how we take a look at the state's procurement policies and procedures. And of course, you know, we're very interested in what happens with the WBEs, which is Women Business Enterprise, and the MBEs, which is the Minority Business Enterprise, in terms of the disparity studies and what portion of the goal should be set for those minorities in our state. To me, it's always going to be education, and it will always remain education as my priority. And it was interesting enough that the governor said that education was our #1 priority, and I understand the critical downfall in our budget shortage, but it still should remain education. You know, right now we're level funding education, and it appears to be level funded at the levels of 2011, but it's really not, because when you really look at the formula, you are reducing the per pupil formula, which is really not level funded. And then we will kind of move on. Let's go back to the other part of education. For a number of years, we've had a bill called in-state tuition for immigrants, and that's really a hot topic. I think the minorities and the immigrant students and families are entitled to something. I think it would be very difficult for me to get the bill out as it's drafted, but I think with a little work and a number of amendments to the bill, they should have that access and have in-state tuition. It probably won't be at the 4-year institution level. We'll probably start at community college and probably allow them, once they have an AA degree, and this is my amendment, to move into and retain that benefit if they're accepted in a 4-year institution. Well, you know, I'm always very concerned about higher ed. Higher ed in its entirety, and specifically higher ed as it relates to historically black institutions, and that has always been an issue. We're still waiting on OCR, Office of Civil Rights. In my opinion, there have been a few, or probably more than a few, injustices, but at this point we're focusing on the duplication of HBI programs.